Gentlemen, let me be completely honest with you. If you are over 60 and struggling in the bedroom, what I am about to tell you may shock you. Because the truth is this: you don't need another expensive pill, and you don't need risky surgery. In fact, some of the most powerful erection boosters are not sold in a pharmacy at all. They're sitting quietly in your kitchen. And when combined with a simple bottle of castor oil, they can deliver rock-hard erections in as little as 20 minutes. It sounds almost too good to be true, but I promise you this is real. I am Dr. A, Professor of Urology and Men's Health, and I have spent more than 30 years helping men just like you reclaim their vitality. Over the decades, I've seen countless patients who had given up hope. But I've also witnessed remarkable turnarounds when nature's remedies were used the right way. Here's the paradox. Most men believe that as they get older, the only solution is to take stronger medications. But the real secret is often the opposite. Nature has provided us with tools that can be safer, more effective, and often faster. And when castor oil is mixed with 5 specific ingredients, the effects are so immediate that many men are stunned by the results. So today, I am going to share those exact formulas with you. Each one is simple, powerful, and designed to bring blood flow, sensitivity, and confidence back into your life. Stay with me because in just a moment, I will reveal the 5 castor oil recipes that can restore your strength and intimacy faster than you ever imagined. Before we get started with these powerful castor oil formulas, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future health advice designed, especially for men over 60. And I'd love to hear from you. If you're excited to learn these natural recipes, type 1 in the comments. If you'd like me to improve or cover other topics, type 0 and let me know. Now, let's begin with the very first recipe. We start with castor oil combined with ginger extract. This simple mixture is all about circulation because without strong blood flow, nothing else matters. Gentlemen, think of it as opening the gateway to powerful lasting erections. Once again, Formula 1, castor oil plus ginger extractone, castor oil plus ginger extract. Let me start with the very first formula, because this one is the foundation for everything else. Castor oil on its own has remarkable properties. But when you mix it with ginger extract, you create a recipe that directly targets the #1 reason erections weaken as we age: poor circulation. I want to tell you something from the heart. Over the past 30 years as a physician, I've had men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s sit across from and whisper the same fear. Doctor, I just don't get blood flow down there anymore. And I see the pain in their eyes, the sense of loss, because erections aren't only about intimacy. They're about confidence, manhood, the ability to feel alive. That's why I love this formula so much. Ginger has been used for centuries in traditional medicine, and modern science confirms its power. Ginger increases nitric oxide, which is the chemical signal your body releases to open up blood vessels. Without nitric oxide, those vessels stay tight, stiff, and unresponsive. And if blood can't rush into the chambers of the penis, an erection simply won't happen. But when ginger is combined with castor oil, something powerful occurs. The oil penetrates deeply into tissues, carrying ginger's active compounds right where they are needed most. It's like oiling a rusty hinge and suddenly watching the door swing freely again. I've had patients who use this mixture tell me the warmth was the first thing they noticed. Just a gentle massage with 1 teaspoon of castor oil and 3 or 4 drops of ginger extract. And within minutes, they felt heat spreading through the pelvic area. That warmth is not just a surface feeling. It's blood vessels relaxing, blood beginning to surge again, tissues remembering what they were designed to do. Some men describe it as if a light switch was turned back on after years in the dark. Others say it gave them a sense of hope they hadn't felt in decades. Now, I want to be clear with you. This isn't magic, it's biology. But sometimes biology feels like magic when you've been without it for so long. Blood is life. Blood is what brings oxygen, nutrients, and energy to every part of the body. And when you restore circulation down there, you don't just restore performance, you restore a piece of yourself. Gentlemen, I know how discouraging it can feel when your body doesn't respond the way it once did, but the truth is it's not gone forever. It just needs the right push, the right support to remember. Castor oil and ginger provide that spark. And here's the best part. This formula doesn't just give short-term results. With regular use, it helps train your vessels to stay more flexible, more open, more responsive. It's like exercise for your blood flow. Over time, you may find that erections come more easily, last longer, and feel stronger. That's the beauty of using nature's remedies. They don't just patch the problem, they help rebuild the foundation. Now, circulation is the first piece of the puzzle, but it's not the only one. Because what if I told you there's another formula? One that doesn't just improve blood flow gradually, but actually sparks an instant surge of responsiveness. Something so fast you may feel it within 15 minutes. Let's talk about castor oil mixed with cayenne pepper, the fiery recipe that men call the instant fire starter. Formula 2, castor oil, plus cayenne pepper castor oil, plus cayenne pepper. Now let's move on to the second formula. And I'll be honest with you, this one is for the man who doesn't want to wait. If the first recipe with ginger is about slowly rebuilding circulation and restoring healthy blood vessels, then this formula with cayenne pepper is about striking a match and feeling the heat almost instantly. I still remember one of my patients, a 68-year-old gentleman who looked me in the eye and said, "Doctor, I don't want to spend weeks waiting. I need something that works tonight." That's when I introduced him to castor oil, blended with a tiny touch of cayenne. And I can tell you heck me back a week later with a smile that said, everything words couldn't. Here's why it works. Cayenne contains a compound called capsaicin, and capsaicin has a very special ability. It wakes up your blood vessels and your nerves at the same time. When you apply even a small amount with castor oil, you feel a warming, tingling sensation almost right away. That sensation is blood rushing into areas that may have been quiet for too long. It's like flipping the on switch for circulation, and your body can't help but respond. I tell my patients to think of it like a spark that lights a fire. Once the flame is there, the warmth spreads, and it awakens something deep inside. The preparation is simple, but it requires caution. Just 1 teaspoon of castor oil blended with the tiniest pinch of cayenne pepper powder. Mix it well and apply it gently. I always emphasize gently because cayenne is powerful, and you don't need much. What matters isn't the quantity, but the quality of the stimulation it provides. Within 10 to 15 minutes, most men notice the difference. Their body feels alive, their response is sharper, and their confidence starts to return. What I love most about this formula isn't just the speed. It's the feeling of hope it gives men who thought quick results were impossible at their age. Imagine sitting next to your partner, worried that your body won't respond, and then feeling warmth, firmness, and vitality come back, almost as if you were 20 years younger. That emotional shift, the relief, the excitement, the spark of joy is just as powerful as the physical change. And I know for many of you, that's exactly what you've been missing. Now, while cayenne and castor oil can give you this instant fire, I don't want you to think that speed is the only thing that matters, because erections are not just about quick blood flow. They're also about long-term vessel health. And if those vessels are clogged or stiff, no quick fix will last. That's why in the next formula, I'll show you how castor oil combined with garlic oil doesn't just bring results in thinnament. It helps cleanse and repair your arteries for lasting strength. Formula 3, castor oil plus garlic oil 3, castor oil plus garlic oil. The third formula is perhaps the most important one for long-term health because it doesn't just create short bursts of circulation. It addresses the deeper issue that so many men face as they age, clogged, stiffened arteries. Gentlemen, I can't tell you how many men over 60 have sat in my office frustrated that nothing seemed to work even when they tried pills. And when we looked deeper, the real problem wasn't lack of desire. It wasn't even lack of testosterone. It was that their blood vessels were narrowed, hardened, and blocked by years of plaque. Erections are all about blood flow, and if the arteries leading into the penis are clogged, nothing else will matter. This is where garlic becomes a true gift of nature. Garlic has been used for thousands of years as a healing food, and modern science proves why. It contains compounds that relax blood vessels, reduce arterial stiffness, and even help dissolve the fatty deposits that build up inside. When your arteries are clean, blood can flow freely, not only to the heart and brain, but to the area most vital for intimacy. Now, here's where castor oil takes garlic's power to another level. By blending garlic oil with castor oil, you create a mixture that penetrates tissues deeply, carrying those vessel-cleansing compounds exactly where they're needed. It's like sending in a maintenance team to clear out the pipes and restore smooth flow through the entire system. I recall one patient in particular, a 72-year-old man who had been struggling for years. He told me, "Doctor, it doesn't matter what I try, I just can't stay firm." We discovered he had significant plaque buildup. I recommended he begin working with this formula. 1 teaspoon of castor oil mixed with 2 drops of garlic oil massaged gently into the lower abdomen and pelvic area. Over time, he began to notice not just improvements in his erections, but also in his overall energy. He even told me his blood pressure numbers improved and the look of relief on his face. It was like he'd been given a new lease on life. What makes this formula so powerful is that it serves both the immediate need and the long-term future. You may feel some improvement in the short run, but more importantly, you're also investing in healthier arteries for the years ahead. And that matters because every man wants not just one night of passion, but the ability to sustain intimacy, strength, and vitality for as long as possible. This is about protecting your heart, your brain, and your manhood all at the same time. Now, garlic and castor oil are about clearing the path, making sure blood can flow freely again. But what if I told you there was another formula designed not only to support your blood vessels, but to restore your energy, your stamina, and even your testosterone, every fuel of male vitality? That's exactly what the next recipe does when castor oil is combined with the legendary root known as ginseng. Formula 4. Castor oil plus ginseng extract. Formula 4. Castor oil plus ginseng extract. When we reach the 4th formula, we need to talk about something that goes deeper than blood flow alone. Many men over 60 don't just struggle with circulation. They tell me they feel drained, tired, and almost disconnected from the man they once were. They come into my office and say, "Doctor, I don't have the drive anymore. It's not just that my body doesn't respond. It's that my energy is gone." And that's when I remind them about the power of ginseng, especially when paired with castor oil. Ginseng has been revered for centuries as one of the most potent natural tonics for male vitality. Modern research confirms what ancient healers already knew. Ginseng boosts nitric oxide production, supports testosterone, and revitalizes both body and mind. When you combine ginseng with castor oil, the oil acts as a carrier, delivering ginseng synergizing compounds deeper into the tissues. The result isn't just stronger erections. It's a fuller sense of vitality. Men report not only improved intimacy, but also greater stamina, clearer focus, and a renewed zest for life. I remember one gentleman in his late 60s who came to see me looking exhausted. He told me that intimacy had become a burden because he simply didn't have the strength or desire anymore. I suggested he try this formula. 1 teaspoon of castor oil with 2 or 3 drops of ginseng extract applied gently in the evening. A month later, he came back beaming. He told me he not only felt stronger in the bedroom, but he was waking up earlier, taking walks again, and feeling alive in ways he hadn't in years. His wife even came to my office to thank me, saying she had her husband back again, not just physically, but emotionally. That to me is the greatest reward as a physician. The beauty of this formula is that it touches on the very core of manhood. Erections are important, yes, but they are also tied to energy, confidence and presence. When a man feels drained, everything suffers. Relationships, health, even his sense of self. But when you restore energy, you restore so much more than intimacy. You restore the will to live fully. Ginseng and castor oil together act like fuel for an engine that has been running on empty. They don't just spark a moment, they build endurance for the long road ahead. Now, while energy and stamina are essential, there is still one final piece of the puzzle. Because even with circulation flowing and vitality restored, many men tell me they struggle with sensitivity. They can achieve firmness, but the spark of pleasure feels dull compared to the past. That's why in the next and final formula, I'll reveal how castor oil mixed with peppermint oil awakens nerve endings, sharpens sensation, and brings back the excitement you may have thought was gone forever. Formula 5. Castor oil plus peppermint oil formula. 5. Castor oil plus peppermint oil. This fifth and final formula may be the most drowsy or surprising of them all, because while the other recipes focus on circulation, energy, and vessel health, this one is about something more subtle, yet equally important. Sensitivity. Many men over 60 come to me and confess that even when they manage to achieve firmness, the pleasure isn't the same. They tell me, "Doctor, I can perform, but it feels dull. It feels muted, like the spark is gone." And that loss of sensation can be just as devastating as losing the erection itself. Because intimacy isn't only about strength, it's about feeling. That's where peppermint oil combined with castor oil can make a remarkable difference. Peppermint contains menthol, a compound that stimulates nerve endings and awakens sensory pathways. When blended with castor oil, it penetrates deeply and reactivates the nerves that may have grown sluggish with age. What men experience is a cool tingling effect that sharpens sensitivity and heightens arousal. It's not just about physical performance. It's about bringing back excitement, that electric sense of connection that can make intimacy feel new again. I think of a patient of mine, a 71-year-old man who had been married for over 4 decades. He told me that intimacy with his wife had become mechanical. He could go through the motions, but the joy and thrill weren't there anymore. I suggested he try this formula. 1 teaspoon of castor oil mixed with 2 drops of peppermint oil massaged gently before intimacy. When he returned a few weeks later, he looked like a different man. He said, "Doctor, I felt alive again. It wasn't just about getting an erection. It was about feeling every touch, every moment with the kind of intensity I thought I had lost forever." His wife later sent me a note thanking me not for a treatment, but for helping them rediscover closeness they feared was gone. What makes this formula so special is that it addresses the emotional side of intimacy as much as the physical. Erections are about blood flow. Yes, but pleasure is about sensitivity. And when you reignite that, you don't just restore function, you restore passion. Peppermint and castor oil together remind the body of what it means to feel alive in every sense of the word. Now we've explored all 5 of these powerful formulas, from circulation boosters to instant fire starters, artery cleansers, energy restorers, and finally, this sensitivity enhancer. Each one addresses a different piece of the puzzle, and together they create a path back to strength, confidence, and joy. But before we close, I want to share with you one final message. A conclusion that brings everything together, and a reminder of why no matter your age, you must never give up on your vitality. Conclusion. Doctor's final words. Gentlemen, we've walked through 5 powerful formulas. Castor oil with ginger to open circulation, cayenne to spark instant fire, garlic to cleanse the arteries, ginseng to restore energy, and peppermint to awaken sensitivity. Each one carries its own strength. But together, they form a path back to vitality, intimacy, and confidence. I've seen these simple remedies transform not only physical health, but also relationships, joy, and self-belief. Age may change the body, but it doesn't have to steal your manhood. Try them, embrace them, and remember your best years can still be ahead.